Andy Serkis here at Filming Italy Sardegna Festival. What is your relationship with Italy and Italian cinema?
I have a long relationship with Italy because my wife and I got married here 25 years ago. We have a house in the Valdoccia, and my children have all half grown up in having holidays here. We spend a lot of time here, so we've loved it. When we first came in 1994, we drove in a camper van from London to Sicilia, and we stopped and we visited everywhere. It was the most amazing holiday, and then we said one day we'll spend time here.
Your favorite word in Italian?
My favorite word in Italian? Well, rubinetti.
Very funny. You've been one of the most groundbreaking actors in motion capture. Why you choose this particular technique for your movie?
I love playing characters that are far away from who I am, but that have a human aspect to them. And so I can both use my emotional range, but also to create something which is you would never be able to play if it wasn't for this technology. So you can take creatures or other beings which are so different and connect with them, and it's a fantastic tool for every actor, because you're not tied to your own look, or whether you're or your own sex or the color of your skin, or it's irrelevant. You can play anything, So it's like this. It's like Alice through the looking glass. You step through into another world, and you can become something entirely different.
The Lord of the Rings marked a turning point in the history of cinema. What memories do you have of that experience?
Wow, that's a big question. It really redefined my expectations of what cinema could be about. I mean, you have to remember, back in those days, fantasy was not really, very big. It had sort of really declined. But it's given birth to a whole new generation of people who really enjoy fantasy movies and movies with realities not like our own realities. So I think it's impacted hugely over the years and continues to do so.
What do you think when you and your friend won 11 Oscars at Los Angeles?
Oh, it was an amazing night. It really, really was incredible, and particularly because the first two films. They had been nominated, but nothing was won, and then there was the big sweep, on that the third year for Return of the King. It was so well deserved, because the amount of craft and devotion and skill and energy that went into making those films from thousands of people. Those awards really meant a lot to not just to Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens, the core team, but everyone who worked on the movies, and to New Zealand as a country.
Very beautiful country. And another character very, very important in your career was Cesare. Was perhaps even more revolutionary in certain aspects, delivering a message that feels very relevant today in light of ongoing global conflicts.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously, live in a very complex world where it seems that truth is now not valued at all, and that is part of that is a huge problem. And I think what Caesar really stood for ultimately was truth and living life in an honest way. And so he was a very profound character, and went again on an extraordinary journey. And as an actor, you never get the opportunity to play a character from birth all the way through the life of the character to death over the course of 3 movies. I can't think of another character that any other actor's played that's had that journey. So I think it's what he represents is we can learn a lot from. We can, from his desire to bring together people and species, and not differentiate and not blame and not point the finger and I think he is a symbol of living together harmoniously.
Do you think that Caesar today could take the peace in the world against Trump, against Putin?
It feels that nature is doing that. It's making its voice heard in the way that the planet is heating up. In the way that it doesn't feel like it's being treated well. So I mean, I think Caesar as a leader would certainly be able to galvanize a big enough force to actually to counter all of the despots, all of the regimes that are about oppression across the world. I think Caesar would be there. Yeah.
What do you think about the intelligence artificial in the cinema today?
I think it's like any tool for that is being used over the years. Even from filming itself, it can be used for good or bad. People can film things in a way to illuminate, to celebrate, to tell stories, to bring people together, or they can, or films could be used for, in the early days, could have been used for propaganda or misuse of information or disinformation. That's been going on. So it's all about the human condition, and it's the same with AI. We have to teach AI and control it. I mean, the genie is out of the bottle, it's here. So, but if it's used in a respectful way, not just for cost cutting, if it's used in a creative way, and that's why in the hands of creative people, I think it's actually well placed, because we understand how it's not going to steal from people or take people's jobs. We know it's got to be touched by the human mind or hand in order to have its originality and to be used in a proper way. Otherwise, if it's just used generically, we'll end up with content that all feels exactly the same, that has no shape or individuality. And I think as long as we remain the masters of it and teach it well, and that's what it is. It's machine learning, so it's up to us to teach it well.
Absolutely. There is a lot of anticipation for the Batman Part 2. What can you tell us about the development of your character?
I can't tell you anything because I don't know, and that's the truth. I love playing Alfred in Matt Reeves' film because it was a very emotional connection to Bruce Wayne, and I can only assume that a version of that will continue, but I don't know. But Matt is almost at the end of finishing the script, so pretty soon I think we're all going to find out.
When you start the shoot of the movie, the shoot of the Batman Part 2, when?
I don't know. I really have no idea.
And another project, how is the production of the Hunt of Gollum progressing?
Yes, it's very interesting, very exciting times. We're at the very beginning of the process. We are just about to start a prep. So for the next few months we'll be preparing. I'll be going back to New Zealand, and then we will start shooting at some point in the middle of next year, and then it'll be ready for December 27.
Thank you very much.